Hi, I'm Dr. Jerry Hu from Texas Eye and Laser Center. I have been using ClearView SBL-3 segmented bifocal IOLs for my refractive cataract patients for a little over a year now. After 250 cases, I'm still learning how to further improve visual outcomes for my patients. But along the way, I have also accumulated quite a bit of experience on how to best utilize this amazing implant. Many of my colleagues and the new users have asked about the implantation techniques and the orientation guidance. Here I'm going to show one of my recent cases and I share some of my tips. Your routine cataract surgery techniques can be used for ClearView SBL-3. Here I'm making a 0.9mm paracentesis, a 2.2mm clear corneal incision is made. My manual capsulotomy size is 5.0 millimeters. It's 4.8 if I use femtosecond laser. Complete hydrodissection is performed. We make sure that the nucleus can freely spin within the capsular bag. A stop and chop technique was used. Very gently, we remove the nuclear fragments. The intraocular pressure in the operation is kept to be 20 millimeter mercury. That's physiologic pressure. So it's very safe and gentle for the zonules, for the bag, and for the corneal endothelium. Completely remove the cortex. And I polish a lot. I polish meticulously. I arguably spend more time polishing than phacoing. I don't want any capsular fibrosis to change the effective lens position. Widening to 2.75 millimeters should suffice for the lens insertion. Here I'm making sure the intraocular pressure is 20 to 25 millimeter for the aura measurement. And we want to optimize the ocular surface, make sure it's moist. I do routinely perform limbo relaxing incision under aura guidance because SBL-3 does not come in toric models. Again, obsessive polishing of the subincisional capsule. I like the single-handed plunger insertion. You want the indentation hole and the indentation notch to be on the right leading edge. Here I'm tugging the trailing plate haptic into the capsular bag and rotating the implant so that the visual axis goes through the distant segment. We want to completely remove the OVD, especially from behind the optic. We don't want any OVD to remain. Let's freeze the video frame here. This is the transitional zone between the near and the far segment. The crescent-shaped reflection along the lens edge indicates near segment. I use Purkinje images to guide my lens placement. The first Purkinje image P1 is the reflection from the outer surface of the cornea and is usually the brightest. The second Purkinje image P2 is the reflection from the inner surface of the cornea, and usually it's not visible. The third Purkinje image P3 is the reflection from the outer anterior surface of the lens. It's usually a blur. And the fourth Purkinje image P4 is the reflection from the inner posterior surface of the lens, and it's usually inverted. P1 is aligned with visual axis and ideally should be in the distance segment of the implant. Because of the positive angle kappa and angle alpha, the visual axis is usually located nasal and occasionally inferior to the pupillary center and the limbal center of the eye. Therefore, the final position of the distant segment of SBL-3 is often infranasal, and the near segment ends up being supratemporal, which is contrary to the approved FDA guideline. Thank you for watching, and hopefully this video has been helpful.